Okay, so this is the 10 to 25mm I have for sale. I've had it about 12 months or so. I always keep all the box and packing and everything else. It's the bag with it there. So you get a nice big bag, and then the lens itself. You keep all these bits and pieces. I did a video on this lens when I first got it. I think it was November, not last November. It's out of guarantee, so it's the November before. Everything's there with it, both lens caps. So there we've got both lens caps with it. There's the focus ring, which has got the soft ends, but you can feel a definite, if you listen there, the definite stop point. But I quite like that. It's quite a nice focusing. And there's the automatic, and then f1.7 to f16. It's got a UV filter on there. I just leave that on for whoever buys it. Just adds that little bit of protection. And then we've got the zoom ring there from 10 to 25. Different hard stops on that. Everything's fine. No marks on the lens, it's in perfect condition. And I did a video, as I say, with this lens in November. It had been November 2019. And there's the clutch for the manual focus. I always manual focus. I've never. I use this with a GH5. I've never used auto. It does work. Apparently, it works better than some of the other lenses on this one. But I don't use it. Yeah, I just realised that I forgot to show the lens hood, which is in this box here. It's in there. So there's the box. There's the instructions as well. Got the instructions there. And and there's the lens hood. Obviously, put it on that way. Just turn, twist, and it clicks into position to be released by pressing that button there. So press that button, and off it comes. So there we are. That's it. I'm going to put it back in its box now. And see if anybody's interested. Perfect working order. It's like new. Okay, so I've done my test. I've tested the camera's range, the lens, this 10 to 25mm lens. I've tested it at 10mm and 25mm, and I've taken pictures, the same image, at varying apertures from f16, f11, f8, 5.6, 4, 2.8, 2 and 1.7 to see if we can see the changes in depth of field. And I've done that at both 25mm and 10mm. So I'm going to go back to the studio now, have a look in Lightroom, and just let's see what we can see. Here are two sequences of 8 pictures, the first at 10mm and the second at 25mm. They show the depth of field throughout the range from f16 to f1.7. The shutter speeds are the only thing that changes, and they range from half a second at f16 to 125th of a second at f1.7, and this is to maintain the same exposure. The striking thing to me is they all look really sharp and crisp, even at the smaller apertures, where you'd expect to find some refraction or loss of sharpness. This is the sequence at 25mm, so the same 8 pictures at the same apertures, and you can see there it's going to be a little bit more noticeable now that the tree will be going out of focus as the aperture becomes wider and wider. We're at f5.6 now. f4 is noticeably out of focus, but if you look at the main monuments, we're at f2.8 now and 2. Even at 1.7 the monument looks absolutely pin sharp. These last 4 images are just showing the lens at f1.7 at both 25mm and 10mm, with near focusing on the tree and the far focusing on the monument. but I thought it'd be useful to see the lens in action with the GH5 in low light, and to see how the micro four thirds inch sensor stands up in this very testing environment. All the shots are 4K 50p and 8-bit, all filmed on the GH5 using the Cinelite D profile. They were all shot full open at f1.7. They've all got the same white balance, which is 3800 Kelvin. So the only difference is the varying focal lengths and the ISO setting. And I've put the information in the top right hand corner for you so you can see what the ISO setting is for each clip. The camera dictated the ISO setting, it was on an automatic ISO. The aperture and the shutter speed were the same, everything else was the same. The only thing that's varied, as I said, is the focal length, which again is on there. It says that one's 25mm, and the ISO is 3200, which I think is the largest ISO the camera used during this sequence. It was in program mode, and now it's about to go to its smallest ISO, which is 200 on this shot here. And now we're back at 2000 ISO. It was a lot darker than it looks on here. I'm sure you're all aware of that, you know, when you're filming and you get home and you look at your footage and it looks, wow, it looks brighter than it was, you know, when you were actually there. Talking about the lens itself, you know, the quality is very, very good. It's a little bit bigger than the average micro four thirds inch lens, but well worth it in my opinion. And don't forget, these images are not processed or graded in any way. They're straight out of the camera, and if they were graded, and if you've got a denoiser plugin or app, then that would make a big difference to the pictures. That applies to all lenses, but they're not graded. I'll just show you a grade I'd do on this last clip, this one here. I'll just add contrast, and which will give you a little bit more of the blacks, make the blacks a bit more prolific to hide away the noise. I've increased the highlights to an orange and the shadows to a teal. In conclusion, I would say this lens for stills is amazing, but for video it's even better. The only competition would be the Sigma Art lens with a Metabone speed booster. But for me, because it's not weather sealed and it's heavier and it's not native glass, puts me off, even though it's a bit cheaper. Well, once again, thank you for watching. Thanks for staying with us. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell for future videos, and I'll keep you in touch with what I'm doing. And I'll catch you in the next one.